Good Friday evening to you. Hope your weekend is off to a great start. Thanks for joining us on More Sports and Less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. I'm Dave Bacon. Going to talk Browns as the Browns try to go to 3-1 for the first time since back in 2001, back in the glory days when Butch Davis was the head coach of the Browns. They will face the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Cowboys 1-2 on the season. Odell Beckham Jr. banged up and has had limited practice. Didn't practice yesterday. Limited practice going forward. All signs point to Beckham probably being ready to go, and definitely the Browns need Odell Beckham against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, a team that has put up a bunch of points, but are just 1-2 on the season. And the Browns, they've been scoring well. You know, the offense since that first game has really gotten into a rhythm, running the football and getting things done. Haven't really seen a lot of the passing game just yet, but wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. not concerned at all with how the Browns get things done as long as they get it done and score some points.
I think we're just finding ways to win right now, to be honest. It's like you play basketball and someone's right-handed and you can't force them to go left. Why would you even go left? That's what I always say. So we're just doing what works right now and what's getting us wins. I mean, it's always there. It's just about whatever they give us, we'll take. I said it last year and I say it again this year. The goal is going to be for Chubb to be the number one rusher in the league, and he was close last year. And, to see him right there in that top 5 spot again, we just know that we're doing things right. So whatever it takes for us to win at this moment. I really, honestly, I couldn't tell you. One team could give it up one week and give up nothing the next week. So it's just whatever's in the game plan, I'm going to just do my job and make sure that we find ways to execute.
Odell Beckham Jr. talking about the Cowboys defense that has given up some big pass plays. Now, the Cowboys expect a battle up front with the Browns, in part because that offensive line. They also expect a physical game and a huge dose of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
Physical, dominant, hard-nosed. They don't care who they're playing. They're going to run the ball, and that's their mentality. So going into this game, we know what we're up against, and we're looking forward to grinding. I mean, they both are elite backs. They have different characteristics about themselves, but a lot of similarities. And at the end of the day, you got to be ready. You got to be ready when they're running through that hole, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to take some great team defense to stop these guys.
Cowboys linebacker Jaylon Smith talking about stopping the run game for the Browns. Well, Cowboys offense has been piling up some big-time yardage and scoring points all over the place in the first 3 games. Still just 1-2 on the season. Like the Browns, they have a number of weapons to go to. You're talking about Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalton Schultz at tight end, CeeDee Lamb, really good young wide receiver. The one thing that the Cowboys also have is a really good quarterback in Dak Prescott, who has thrown for a lot of yardage. Now, Prescott and the Cowboys concerned with where Myles Garrett is going to be lining up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player. Obviously, you watch the film, you've seen from his time being in the NFL, he's a playmaker. He's got good ball production, so for me, it's about being smart with the ball in the pocket, but also helping my offensive line. Obviously, we work hand in hand, getting the ball out, frustrating those D linemen with that, and just working together. But obviously, we know he's a great player. But as I'll always say, I trust the guys I have in front of me. Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's going to come off free. We got to make sure that we get a hand on him and protect, and those guys will do that. And that's kind of what I mean, just by trusting my offensive line of doing their job. But as I said as well, I know that he does a good job getting back there, and when he's back there, he likes to go for the ball in the quarterback's hands. So it's important that I keep a good ball security on that, and then just play our game. We can't focus too much on one player on their side. We've got some playmakers and we've got some guys to protect. So we're going to go out there and just be ourselves.
Dak Prescott, quarterback for the Cowboys, talking about knowing where Myles Garrett is coming and when he's coming for the Cowboys quarterback. Again, Cowboys Browns, 1 o'clock in Dallas this Sunday. We're going to step aside, take a quick time out. We've heard from some of the players. On the other side of the break, Browns beat reporter Dan Labbe will join us. We'll talk more Cowboys and Browns, more sports. Les Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition will be right back. Stay with us.
Prescott Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Prescott Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Maurice, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine. Welcome back to More Sports and Les Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. The Browns heading to Dallas to play the Cowboys, trying to go to 3-1 for the first time since way back in 2001. We've heard from some of the Cowboys. We've heard from some of the Browns. Let's welcome in Browns beat reporter Dan Labbe. You can read Dan in the pages of the Plain Dealer. You can also see him here on cleveland.com as well. Dan, appreciate the time. What sticks out about this game when you look at it, Browns-Cowboys in Dallas?
Well, I think the big thing is this: there should be a lot of points in this football game. Neither of these defenses have been particularly great so far this season. So I would imagine both of these teams are going to be able to score a little bit in this game. It could be a shootout, which I know Browns fans aren't used to really seeing their team be involved in. But the Browns offense has been pretty good. The Cowboys offense, we saw it against Seattle last week that they can put up some points. I think we're going to see a lot of touchdowns on Sunday.
When you look at the Browns offense, they've run the ball extremely well. And there's that old football saying, if you can run the ball, there's no need to throw it. Is that kind of what you think the mindset has been of the Browns? They've run the ball because nobody's stopped their run yet.
It is, and Kevin Stefanski has really kind of played into that. He's a guy that when the run is working, he's just going to keep handing the ball off. And I was particularly impressed last week when they were down to Washington and the third quarter was going really poorly. They get the ball, they get that big third down conversion, and then they kind of turned to the run, and they never panicked on that drive where they ended up taking the lead early in the fourth quarter. They kept handing the ball off. They stuck with their bigger personnel. They weren't just chucking it around. And I thought that was very telling about this coaching staff, how they just don't panic. We've used the word unflappable so many times with this coach, and I think it really showed in that moment.
Now, the Cowboys are certainly a step up from the Washington football team and the Bengals. Let's not get crazy with the Ravens, who the Browns played in Week 1. Do you see the Browns being able to run the football the way they have? Dallas has been giving up a lot of points, without question.
The Browns should have the ability to dictate what they want to do against this defense. Dallas has a couple linebackers who are out, and Sean Lee and Leighton Vander Esch. Their secondary is questionable, and I don't know that they've been getting as much out of their pass rush as they were hoping. Everson Griffin is a guy that we've talked about on this show back when he was a free agent and wondered if maybe the Browns should sign him, and it doesn't seem like the Cowboys are getting out of him what people would expect. So I think the Browns are going to be able to dictate what they want to do offensively. And that's a good thing because you can just hand the ball to Nick Chubb, or you can use the short, quick passing game if that's what you want to do. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to force the issue one way or another.
Kind of interesting, you mentioned that pass rush. Eldon Smith hadn't played in like 5, 6, 8 years, and he's coming in and playing really well. That has been a surprise for that defense, and somebody the Browns have to figure out where that guy is.
Yeah, exactly. He's been one of the bright spots in that pass rush for the Cowboys. And just like on the other side with the Browns defensive line, the Browns are going to have to identify him, find him, make sure the Cowboys don't sneak him somewhere where they don't know where he is. This is actually going to be a nice test going against a pass rusher like that. I thought Washington, they actually did a really good job against that front four. Now, Washington got banged up and lost a couple guys, but I thought they gave Baker Mayfield the time he needed in that game. So, I'm not real worried about this offensive line against the Dallas pass rush.
Some things that have to be concerns. Kareem Hunt banged up, missed some practice time, along with Odell Beckham Jr., who banged up. Are those serious things, or is that more maintenance and kind of letting guys heal some of the bumps and bruises of what will be a very long season?
Well, I never like it when a guy just pops up on the injury report like Odell Beckham did on Thursday. And also, it was strange when Odell talked to us via Zoom, he was really kind of down. And he's usually not like that. He'll usually sort of warm up after a couple questions. He's usually pretty talkative. So it was a little surprising, and then he pops up on the injury report. So I think that's worth watching. And Kareem Hunt, another one. We can't really identify a spot where it happened in the game. Again, he just sort of popped up on that injury report. I think the most concerning one is probably Odell, just because if Kareem Hunt's out, okay, yes, he's valuable. Yes, you could do a lot of things with him, but you also have Nick Chubb, who can really carry the load for you in the running game.
When you look at this Cowboys defense, what do you think you can exploit? And it's a team that has given up a lot of points. What do you see as the Browns offense being able to do against this Cowboys defense?
It's funny. It's kind of similar on both sides of the ball. It's really that from the linebackers back. That's kind of where you can attack this team. Dallas is a little short-handed in the linebacking core. I know that they aren't super strong at safety. It's a position they've just never really been able to address or kind of find those guys that fit back at safety. So it's almost like a mirror image when you look at those back sevens of these two teams. I think the Browns should be able to exploit those linebackers, exploit that secondary, and we might see them go to the air a little bit if they find some success.
When you look at JoJo Natson, return man, out for the year, so Dontrell Hilliard brought up, how big of a concern is it? Does that deal the return game a little bit of a blow, or Hilliard's a guy that certainly has done it in the past?
It hurts, but they haven't had a ton of return opportunities to begin with. It's such a strange part of the game now anymore in the NFL. I'll be curious if Dallas maybe puts somebody on the spot and makes them return a kick instead of kicking it out of the end zone. I'd like to see Donovan Peoples-Jones get a chance. I know they brought up Dontrell Hilliard, but Peoples-Jones is a guy, yes, he was a 6th-round pick, but he's still a guy that if he's available, I'd like to see him out on the field and get an opportunity to turn those kicks. Still a developmental player. This is a chance to get him on the field. Let's see what he can do.
Baker Mayfield managed the game well. I know people hate that, but he didn't hurt the Browns very much in that victory against Washington football team. A homecoming for him. What do you expect from him? He grew up in Texas, and everybody that grows up in Texas dreams of playing at Cowboys Stadium or AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World, whatever you want to call it. What do you expect from Baker?
I expect Baker to have really a similar game to what we saw. Now, could the yardage be up? Sure. They had a lot of short fields against Washington, so there weren't a ton of opportunities to put that yardage up. But I think they've found a sweet spot with Baker right now in his development where he can kind of manage the game. And I don't think that is a bad thing. We do always use that as like a bad term for quarterbacks. But if you're saying to Baker, look, you can lean on this running game, you can lean on play action, you can make easy throws. And the thing is, you go back against Washington, he makes that 3rd and 12 throw to Odell. Touchdown to Harrison Bryant a few plays later was a really nice throw on the run. So there were some good things from Baker against Washington, even though the numbers weren't there. And you can continue to just kind of develop him within this system and not ask him to do a ton of things.
Dan Labbe, Browns beat reporter here on cleveland.com, as well as in the pages of the Plain Dealer. We'll step aside, take a quick timeout. The guy that is the star of the Browns defense, it's also a homecoming for him. We'll have more on the Browns Cowboys matchup. More sports and less Levine. The Weekend Winners Edition will be right back. Stay with us.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Welcome back to more sports and less Levine. The Weekend Winners Edition. We continue to preview the Browns Cowboys matchup Sunday at 1 o'clock down in Dallas, Texas. Let's welcome back in Browns beat reporter here on cleveland.com, as well as in the pages of the Plain Dealer, Dan Labbe. Dan, when you look at this matchup, Cowboys offense, Browns defense, there's a lot to be concerned about. What concerns you the most?
Just all the weapons that the Cowboys have. This is a contrast in styles and offenses, right? The Browns love to go big personnel, use tight ends, all sorts of things like that. The Cowboys, they are an 11 personnel team. They'll have 3 wide receivers out there, and they have some good ones. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb is off to a great start. There's some really strong weapons there in that passing game, and we know how vulnerable the Browns have been to the pass. I mean, Washington, who frankly is not very good offensively, had a lot of space to work last week, and that's really where you start. And then you just throw in Ezekiel Elliott, who we all know Ezekiel Elliott very well. We all know the type of runner he is. And so this is going to be a real test for that front four against the run as well. If Dallas hits a couple big plays and then they start handing the ball to Zeke, that's when things can get out of hand a little bit.
The other thing is that, no disrespect to Joe Burrow or Haskins, but Dak Prescott definitely a step up from the last 2 weeks as far as quarterback goes.
Yeah, he's going to be the best quarterback that they've faced since Lamar Jackson, obviously, and he's having a nice season. He's thrown, the numbers aren't necessarily rolling off the page from a touchdown, 5 touchdowns, a couple interceptions, but his yardage is up there, completion percentage is high. This is a really good quarterback, and even though the Cowboys haven't been able to come to an agreement and a long-term contract with him, I'm sure he's a guy that they want behind center for a long time because he can really hurt you.
The other thing that's kind of interesting is, one of their leading receivers was their 4th receiver, Ced Wilson, and they also have a tight end who the Browns always have trouble with tight ends, and Dalton Schultz is not very well known, but I have a feeling come Sunday, Browns fans are going to know who that tight end is for the Cowboys.
They always do. Tight ends, like you said, just absolutely kill the Browns. And, that's sort of what the Cowboys do well, right? Even though they've never been able to necessarily build up that defense to where they want it, they always seem to be able to uncover these weapons for their quarterbacks and have guys that can make big plays. And it could cause some problems for the Browns. The key is going to be that pass rush. That front four for the Browns needs to absolutely dominate this football game.
The other thing that we've heard is the Cowboys are trying to get their screen game going with Ezekiel Elliott. And my guess would be that's the counter to letting the Browns get after Dak Prescott a little bit. So that's going to put pressure on the Browns tackling.
For sure. And that's another thing that's always been an issue with the Browns defense is tackling. But honestly, if I'm the Browns and I feel comfortable that I can make those tackles in space, I'm happy with the Cowboys just screening away and not going after big chunks of yardage, because I don't want my secondary to get tested over and over again, especially, if Denzel Ward isn't 100%. You don't know what Greedy Williams is going to do. I still think this is a secondary that is not healthy, and even when they are healthy, is still a little questionable.
The other thing is the size of those targets. Cooper, you mentioned, is not really tall. Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, both big athletic targets, which physical mismatches exist there.
Right, and then they've sort of built that receiving core like you want to. People say you want to kind of build it like a basketball team. You want to have some small, shifty guys, some big guys that can go get the football, and they've really sort of built that variety with those weapons for Dak Prescott.
What about guys getting healthy? And, we saw Mack Wilson a little bit. Do we expect to see him more? And who else might be coming back that could help, as far as safeties and linebackers go?
I think they'll keep working Mack Wilson back in a little bit. The big news this week really in that linebacking core was Jacob Phillips back at practice. And this is a guy that started the first game against Baltimore and then got hurt, the rookie that they drafted, had a knee injury. He's been limited this week. But if you can get him back on the field, that's just another body to have out there and hopefully be able to give him some snaps. Ronnie Harrison is still such a weird situation. He still just hasn't been able to get on the field as much as you'd like to see him out there. And then he comes down with an illness and was unable to practice on Thursday. So I guess we'll see where Harrison is, but they're definitely slow playing, putting him out on the field.
The other thing is that Cowboys offensive line has been banged up, but it is getting healthy, which, that could be something that the Browns need to keep in mind. What was not a great offensive line is getting better.
Yeah, Teron Smith might be back this week, which would be a huge addition for the Cowboys to get that left tackle out there. The one piece of good news, though, is, that line has traditionally been the strength of the Cowboys. It's been an area where they've been really great. Of course, Bill Callahan knows that line very well. He was there for a while. But it's not quite the group that it used to be. They had a surprise retirement over the offseason. And, of course, they've been struggling at tackle with injuries and things like that. So it's a more vulnerable offensive line than it's been in the past. And that's good news for the Browns because the way their defense is built, it starts at that front. And if those guys can take advantage of that offensive line, they can really do some damage to this Cowboys offense.
What do you expect from this game? I mean, do you expect it to be a high-scoring game? What when you look at it? And what is the recipe for the Browns to win?
The recipe for the Browns is get after Dak, make him uncomfortable, and then score a lot of points on the other end, but also do it while controlling the clock a little bit, right? You don't have to just throw the ball, chuck the ball around. They can run the football and still score a lot of points. That's what they've been doing over the last couple weeks. So you can find that balance there. I do think the Cowboys are going to win this game. I'll go with a score of, let's go 38-32. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. This should be a fun game to watch, I think, even though I think the Cowboys will come out on top.
Yeah, I would agree. I think one of the keys is going to be turnovers. Whichever offense hurts themselves, it will eventually cost them. It's kind of interesting because the Cowboys have fallen behind and have come back in each of their games. And one of them was, they found a way to win against Atlanta when they probably had no business winning. So it's going to be one of those deals. If the Browns get the lead, they're going to need to be able to run the ball and kill the clock.
And this is a team that's built to play with the lead. That's the good news for excuse me, that's the good news for Browns fans. They're built to play with the lead if they get it. Dallas, this is desperation time. They're 1-2. If they drop to 1-3, that's really bad news for the Browns. If they lose this game and they're 2-2, I think most Browns fans with, a night's sleep and separating from the loss a little bit would be pretty happy with that start.
Yeah, as long as it's not a matter of, they had it and they gave it away, I would tend to agree with you. Dan Labbe, Browns beat reporter here on cleveland.com, as well as in the pages of the Plain Dealer. As always, we appreciate the time and the insight. We look forward to talking to you and seeing if the Browns do, in fact, go to 3-1. We'll find out, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
All right, Dan Labbe. That'll do it for this edition of More Sports and Less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. Want to remind you, we will be back with you next Friday. Les Levine will be in the chair Monday from 6 to 7. Stay safe and have a great weekend.